All right, you lot, I hear that you really enjoyed hearing about my slightly tatty old Mercedes SL, which I bought back in 2017. Just as a quick recap, this is a 1992 Mercedes 300 SL 24 valve. It's the R129 SL. It is something of beauty, I think. I think it is only getting better looking as it gets older, this car. It's dating brilliantly. It did need a lot doing to it. I mean, it was fine. It's always been quite mechanically solid, but I have spent quite a bit of money on it. So we thought we'd do a little update video, tell you what I've been doing to it. And the first thing that I would mention is that roof, because when I shot it previously, it had the hard top on that all of these cars came with, which I also think looks really good on it. But when the sun's out, you've got to get the roof down, haven't you? So I will show you what the roof is like. Now that cost me over 850 quid just for the control unit before labour or anything else, that roof. And I took this car to John Haynes in Worthing, who are an independent specialist, really well known. They were recommended to me by the Owners Club. First port of call, if you're thinking about getting an old Mercedes, SL or otherwise, join the Mercedes Owners Club because they're absolutely brilliant. And they're just a font of knowledge for all things Mercedes. So they're the first place to go for anything. And did that, got it over to Worthing. The guys there are absolutely brilliant, I have to say. They really do know these cars inside and out, and they've sorted the roof for me, amongst many, many other things. I do know how to do very basic mechanics, but I have to say I'm more in the line of wanting to throw money at people who definitely know what they're doing, rather than getting the car to pieces myself and then not knowing how to put it back together again. So, here we go, let's get the roof down. As for the state of the fabric hood itself, well, it's survived remarkably well for a hood that's been tucked away in the cavity for about 4 years without being used. There clearly has been some water ingress into that cavity because there's a bit of water marking and a bit of mould on the inside of the roof. Other than that, it's survived very well with only 2 tiny little tears in the fabric on the outside, and it still seems to be extremely waterproof given how well it stood up to the various rainstorms that I've been out in. So that is the roof, which now works brilliantly, which I'm really, really chuffed about because I absolutely love driving this thing around with the roof down. It's ace. While I'm sat in here, let's chat a little bit about some of the stuff that I want to get done in the interior, because I have not done anything to the interior, even though there's quite a bit that needs doing. Just little details and stuff. These, check this out. So this is a fabulously retro multi-cassette player, and they spring out so you keep all your cassettes in there. Don't own any cassettes, and somebody has put the an aftermarket CD player in here, which I also want to get rid of because I want to get one of the original Blaupunkt radios and put that back in. They even do ones that look pretty much identical to the originals but have a USB input and Bluetooth and stuff, so I'll probably go down that route. Because ultimately, I want this car to be as original as possible, but I also use it quite a lot. I don't do massive mileage, I suppose, but I do use it fairly often, and I like to play my music and stuff, so I'm happy to do that. I think that's a really good middle ground to go down. I need to buy some carpets for the car. I've got some rubber ones which look horrible, so I'm going to get some proper Mercedes ones. As usual, on pretty much all old cars with leather, the bolster has gone on the seat, so I need to sort that out. The headlining on the hardtop, which you can check out on the previous video, that is still hanging off, and I desperately need to get that sorted, so I am going to do that very soon. To be honest, other than that, really, the interior is fairly up together. I need to get this painted and sorted, this bit, and the thing with old cars, you're always worried about things dropping off, and this little switch fell out the other day, which is the switch to make this centre armrest go forwards and backwards. So I don't know about that. I'm going to have to look. I'd probably be able to fix that, I think, myself. We'll see. So we'll look at that. And this is supposed to have a scrolling cover. And this did have when I got it, and then a friend of mine got in and I think hit it and a bit too vigorously, and it sort of rolled back and disappeared underneath here. So there's now bits of brittle old plastic somewhere underneath this centre console. That's one of those things that I think will be last on the priority list, so we'll sort that out another day. Ultimately, I have to say, generally these SLs, the interiors wear fairly well. The wood's done quite well. There's a little crack on the veneer over on that passenger door, which I'll sort out. I've already bought a new veneer. There are loads of breakers that sort of specialise in old SLs and old Mercedes, and you can get all sorts of bits and pieces from them. So, you know, the world of independent Mercedes garages and breakers and parts specialists and this kind of thing. Mercedes are good because also everything in the car has a parts number, so it's quite easy to find stuff. So, you know, I think I said this before, but basically these cars are perhaps not the easiest to work on yourself. They're not great DIY cars, not least because there's no Haynes manual for them, which drives me wild. When you can get one on a Centurion tank, but not on a Mercedes SL, it seems completely bananas. Anyway, moving on from that, perhaps not the easiest to work on yourself, but if you do want to find parts, that's easy to do, and there are loads of really great independent specialists like I've mentioned. So they're actually kind of forgiving as modern classics go, I think, especially given that this one's been really quite reliable and has been very tolerant of being left in a garage for weeks or even months at a time sometimes. So I have absolutely no issue with it at all. Anyway, I've got a big long list here of some of the stuff that I've done. So, updates to the Mercedes SL. For a start, I had an issue with the battery occasionally lost all its charge. There was a drain on it. That turned out to be the ignition. So it's got a new ignition, and oh my goodness, what else have I done? The list is very, very long. Lots of front suspension stuff. Supply and fit new front lower swivels, new steering drag link, new right track rod end, steering dampers, new front damper top mounts, wheel alignment, of course, all of that stuff. Oh, also gearbox oil cooler lines. I've got new brake discs, I've got new brake pads. I've basically gone through the car and replaced all of the perishable bits that were kind of all right, but we're definitely going to need doing fairly soon, because I want this car to be mechanically really solid, and that's pretty much where we're at now. So that was, well, thousands of pounds basically. So I think all in total, by the time I'd also done a full service on it, all of that stuff, I think we were looking already at about £2,000 to £2,500 for all of that work. New top mounts, so yeah, loads of parts, all proper Mercedes parts. It's all been really well done, and like I said, the guys over at the garage in Worthing at John Haynes, brilliant job really. So yeah, they've been really good. And on top of that, the roof, so that was £850 for the parts before the labour and all of that stuff. Yeah, I've spent quite a lot. Like I said, it really did rack up quite quickly, but I don't regret it because the car's driving beautifully now. And I want your opinion on something, so follow me back out the car. So the question is, do I change the wheels on the car? So these are not the original wheels. It came out of the factory. This is an Irish market car, interestingly. It came to the UK in '95. It came out of the factory on 8-hole alloys. It's quite a common alloy wheel design that was put on these old Mercedes, and I quite like the 8 holes, and I'm thinking about putting it back on those because there's also a slightly smaller size on these. So this is 17s and the 8 holes were 16s that it came out of the factory on. I'm quite tempted to do that because I think it would look good and I think it would improve the ride a bit. Not that the ride's bad at all actually, but nonetheless I think it would be a slight improvement. And these are not, it turns out, official Mercedes wheels. They do look very cool and very Miami Vice, and they're very convincing, but they're not proper official Mercedes wheels. So I'm tempted to get them off and get the 8 holes on, but let me know what you think, because I do like the AMG style, but I don't like the fact that they're not proper Mercedes wheels, and I think that the 8 holes might look a bit better actually. Plus, like I said, I'm sort of keen to try and keep it quite original. So we'll see whether that would improve it. I did mention this on the last video as well, but the lacquer on the paint is getting worse quite quickly now, so I think I'm going to have to address that at some point. I don't really want to spend much more money on it immediately. I have other things to spend money on, still trying to do the house up as well, so I think it's going to be a while before I get round to it. But I have to say it's looking absolutely awesome despite the lacquer issues on the paint at the moment. I'm loving this car. I've done quite a few miles in it this summer already, and it's been an absolute joy. I really do really love it. So why don't we head out, have a quick drive, and I'll talk a bit more about my slightly tatty midlife crisis car. So here we are in the SL, driving around on a lovely sunny day. It's very difficult to not love life when you're driving around in this thing, that's what I find. And without wishing to repeat myself on before, I think one of the things I love most about this car is that it does feel very different to any modern car. I spend a lot of time in new electric cars and otherwise. This always feels like a bit of a departure. And I think that's what you want, isn't it, from a car that you're going to have as a bit of a weekend special. I mean, I do use this actually for like routine driving about, but it is, it's just a joy really. And having had all of that stuff, particularly all the suspension things done, it's driving really sweetly now. Before I had all that stuff done as a bit of a vibration at higher speeds, that's now gone. Despite the fact that I think smaller wheels would help the ride, this thing's just got such a lovely, really serene, kind of sophisticated ride to it. And I really do think I should fly the flag for these old SLs when it comes to handling, because when you think about the kind of modern classic options, looking at, you know, late 80s, 90s cars, BMW always kind of comes out on top for those who want really good handling, and rightly so really. But these things actually handle really well. They're really lovely for being really good GT cars, really chilled. But then if you want to, and you find a good road, you really can actually use them properly. And they handle really nicely, really nice turning, loads of grip, and actually just really quite fun. So I do really love it. And this engine, I mean, what a thing. It's just delightful. Engines don't make that noise anymore, do they? It's a bit sad. And much as I love an EV, for my daily car I would always have an EV. Having something like this in the garage for fun when you love cars and you love driving like I do makes such a difference. Whether the value of this thing has gone up or not, I don't know. I did originally buy this somewhat laughably because I thought I might make some money on it. And within a matter of months I decided that I actually loved it a bit too much and probably wasn't going to sell it. Plus values, they're just so erratic on these R129s. These aren't as desirable as the R107s, which is the earlier generation, sort of slightly prettier. But in many ways these are kind of a bit more recommendable if you haven't got tons of money to spend and you want something that's, you know, actually quite easy to live with. If you do want to do quite a bit of mileage in it, maybe you want to take it down through to France for a holiday or whatever, do that in these, no worries at all. They were, it's a bit of a cliche I suppose, but lots of people call them the last of the Mercedes that were really over-engineered, and I think that's probably true. They really are wonderfully made and a joy to drive, whether it's a mundane journey or whether you do want to go out on a nice road. So I think they are really great for that. And like I said, also very tolerant of being sort of stood for a few weeks at a time too, if this car's anything to go by. Like I said, as for value, I've got absolutely no idea. I suspect probably not even as much as I've spent on it. I don't know. Could be worth 6,000, could be worth 16, could be worth more. Who knows? And like I said, I'm planning on keeping it anyway for the foreseeable, so I'm not really that fussed. I'm just enjoying it. That's what the cars are for. I'm loving having the roof down all the time at the moment. A big fan of soft tops. It's just been a delight this summer. I've really enjoyed it and I haven't regretted spending the money because I didn't spend much on this car at all in the first sort of 4 or 5 years that I owned it. And so this has been the big spend that it kind of deserved, really. And it's feeling very fine as a result. So there you have it, the SL is going well. I'm certainly spending enough on fuel, don't even go there with that. This thing's got an 80 litre tank, it might even be 85 litres, I'm not 100% sure. So I mean, you know, I can quite reasonably spend £150 and more on a tank of fuel at the moment. So how about that? And that's only going to get you about 400 miles. So fuel is painful, everything else about the Mercedes is just wonderful. And it's only getting better as I spend a bit of money on it, and it's feeling really, really sort of tight and up together at the moment, so I'm loving it. And I don't doubt in the next few years I'll do more to it, probably the paint and all the rest of it, and I'll come back and I'll tell you about that too. Don't forget to head to cargurus.co.uk for a whole host of fantastic used cars. We'll even tell you if it's a good deal or not. And like the video, subscribe to the CarGurus UK YouTube channel and turn on your notifications so that you don't miss any of our videos.